Hi, I'm Jamie Dowswell here at SAF Congress, talking to some of the major players and companies who are involved in the event. I'm delighted to be joined by Andrew from Fluor here. Really good to have you here. How's your day been so far?
Yeah, so far so good. Pretty interesting discussions today and lots of interesting people here, so happy to be here.
Yeah, we're almost at the end of the Congress now, on the final day. And one key question I wanted to begin with is, why does a company like Fluor attend SAF Congress?
Well, I think we're here because we want to talk about projects, SAF projects, eSAF projects. We're a little bit tired, to be honest, of designing drawings to build these facilities. We want to design them, construct them, start them up and have them operating. It's one of the challenges in our industry right now. And so we want to talk to the people that are here involved and see what we can do differently to make that happen.
Yeah, you talk about being tired. I mean, how can we move that along? How can we unlock the investment needed to move these SAF and eSAF projects along?
One of the key questions I think that's been asked by a lot of people here and also tried to be answered by a number of people, including us in our presentation. We definitely need to work differently. We need to look at a different execution approach for these projects, especially when they're novel technologies, unproven at scale. For sure, HEFA projects are moving along quite well, and Fluor's built a number of these facilities around the world. But these new projects which have green hydrogen production, CO2 capture, a Fischer-Tropsch train, is another layer of complexity, and we can't apply the old way of doing projects to these new jobs. We need to look at integration. We need to look at how we can work together with all the people in the supply chain, which is a great thing we can do here. Talk to those people, talk to your licensors, talk to your EPC contractors, your construction contractors, your O&M, and then to the banks that are putting the money up for these projects. Because all of these people, they influence a piece of this FID puzzle. And without having those people talk to each other, we keep hitting this wall at the end of the feed phase, not passing an FID. And I'm pretty positive after some of the discussions that people are going to go back to the Home Office and think a little bit differently, and that's going to lead to these projects being successful.
Yeah, it's been fantastic to see a lot of the optimism in the room over the past 2 days. I've also been really surprised to see that, or maybe not surprised, but really pleased to see that. I think, a little bit of a jolt that the industry needs. You've obviously talked and touched upon some of the challenges that everybody knows. What's one of the most underestimated challenges you think that's facing the SAF industry over the next decade?
Yeah, look, optimism is great. I'm also an optimist, but also a realist. So I think this industry has taken a bit of a reality check. There was a big hype and now it's dropped down again, which I think was needed. People need to take a step back. But then we also need to think and look ahead. So yeah, what does the next 10 years look like? These SAF and eSAF facilities will be built. It's inevitable. We need to decarbonize. We need to create a sustainable world. But eventually, we're going to be hit with quite a wave of projects if we want to meet the objectives we've set out for ourselves, if we want to have cleaner fuels being produced. So how are we actually going to do that? Do we have the resources available to do that? Will that be in Europe? Will that be in China? Will that be in the US? So thinking forward is going to be something that our whole industry really needs to focus on, and having the whole supply chain working in order. Because if all of a sudden there's this wave again of projects that need to be built, we're not going to have the people to do that. Now, the interesting thing is there's also other new technologies. Take AI. I'm sure people are talking about that all the time. We need to embrace that. We need to look at ways that we can apply that, whether it's in the design. At Fluor, we're using AI, for example, to help produce P&IDs. How can we lower the costs of facilities, even in the OPEX phase, through using technologies like AI? So no one really knows how that's going to change the industry, but it is going to change it. And I'm excited also to see what that is going to do for us in projects.
Yeah, let's hope that wave becomes a bit of a tsunami. And I think, there was a SAF Market Outlook report that was shown, and a huge amount needs to be done to achieve some of the targets we have, not only in Europe, but also globally as well. So we're really excited to see that wave and when it comes. And I think it has to happen soon for us to get to where we need to go. Why does Fluor believe it has the secret to achieving positive FID for projects? What's your secret sauce?
Yeah, look, that was the title of our presentation earlier. And of course, it was a little bit in jest. Is there a secret? Well, come to our Fluor office around the corner, I can tell you. But the reality is it's not such a secret. But people do need to look at themselves and act differently in order to make this happen. And I don't see that happening enough. In some of the conversations at this conference, I've been positively surprised that no longer are many developers saying we need a lump sum turnkey EPC, that's the only way it's going to be bankable. They are saying we need to focus on the front end. That's when we add value to a project. That's when we reduce the CapEx. That's when we get a predictable schedule, because what has been happening is all of these large projects are failing either to pass FID, or when they do pass it, they have a huge schedule extension or cost overrun. So the secret is really opening the kimono a little bit, saying, guys, we all need to take a little bit more risk. How do we do that in a balanced way? What is the optimal risk allocation for all the parties? And by doing that, then in the end, I think these projects are not just going to be bankable, but they're also going to be feasible. And that's ultimately the secret.
Oh, fantastic. And we're here on the final day of the Congress. How have you found the event? And has there been a surprise takeaway for you from the past 2.5 days?
It's been great. I think compared to some previous years, a really diverse range of people and clients and attendees, which is always nice. Some good market insights. I think globally also, it really opened my eyes to see what different countries are doing. One quite interesting thing, in fact, was from a speaker who said, well, actually, the only way that these SAF and ESAF projects are going to be economical is with the technology that we haven't even invented yet. So they said, well, we need to think even further ahead. We need to develop newer technologies that are going to make these type of sustainable fuels on par with conventional fuels. Maybe he's right. I guess time will tell.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see where the production pathways take us and the different technologies available for SAF as well. Thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate your insights, and look forward to seeing you again at next year's Congress.
Yeah, definitely my pleasure. Thanks.